Welcome to The Explainer. You ever wonder what it really takes to go from being a flat broke teenager to a self-made millionaire? Well, today, we're diving into the incredible story of Mark Tilbury. He did exactly that, starting with, absolutely nothing. So let's break down his path and see how he built this multi-million-dollar business from the ground up.
Okay, so let's go back to 1985. Picture this, a young, skinny kid with ginger hair walking out of his school gates for the very last time. That's Mark Tilbury. And man, he had this burning desire to make his mark on the world. But here's the catch. He had totally empty pockets, and honestly, no clue where to even start.
So the big question is, how did a broke 16-year-old manage to build a multi-million-dollar fortune? Well, let's get into it. This is a story of pure hustle, some really tough setbacks, and one key discovery that, honestly, changed everything for him.
All right, long before there were any business plans or bank loans in the picture, Mark was actually mastering the two most important skills you need as an entrepreneur. He just didn't know it yet.
So check this out. This was his first real business lesson. He'd go fishing, right? Catch hundreds of mackerel and then try to sell them door to door. His first offer, 10 fish for $1. And crickets. Nobody bought a single one. But instead of just quitting, he changed his strategy. His new offer, 5 fish for $1, was a smash hit. This taught him something huge. It's not about what you think is a good deal. It's all about what the customer actually wants and is willing to pay for.
Between selling fish in his neighborhood and hustling candy in the school playground, Mark was building this incredibly powerful foundation. And he figured it out pretty quick. These two skills, sales and confidence, they were going to be the bedrock for every single win he'd have later in life.
So, like a lot of people, Mark's first move was to follow that traditional path. You know the one. He completely bought into the idea that a steady 9-to-5 job was the only guaranteed ticket to a successful life.
He threw absolutely everything into a carpentry apprenticeship, even winning leadership awards. He saw the promise of a real career, a ladder he could actually climb. But that promise, it quickly turned into a pretty harsh reality. He was just stuck doing the same repetitive, mindless tasks day in and day out, with no way to show what he was really capable of.
And this right here was the breaking point. He goes to his manager, asks for a bigger challenge, and that's the response he gets. He was basically told he had a 5-year sentence of making trash cans. And in that one moment, he realized he was totally, completely powerless, just trapped in a dead-end job.
So yeah, he was trapped, but he was definitely not defeated. He started hustling every single spare hour he had. We're talking a Saturday job, flipping cars he found for cheap, and even teaching people to fly radio-controlled helicopters on Sundays. He was building an escape fund, which is so crucial because that's what gives you the freedom to jump on real opportunities when they pop up.
And then it happened. One single day on his carpentry job just completely blew his mind, shattered his whole understanding of how to build wealth, and set him on a path that would change his life forever. So get this, he's installing this huge, grand staircase in a mansion. I'm talking marble floors, chandeliers, a garage stuffed with sports cars, the works. And every single day, he'd see the owner just relaxing or heading off to play golf. Mark just couldn't get his head around it. Even with all his side hustles, a life with that kind of freedom seemed completely impossible. He finally worked up the nerve to just ask the guy, "What's your secret?" And the man introduced him to this really powerful concept, passive income. It's the idea that you can make money while you sleep. You do something once, like set up a business, and it keeps earning for you even when you're not actively working. For Mark, this was a total game changer. It completely rewired how he thought about making money.
Okay, so now he's all fired up with this new goal of building passive income, and he comes up with the perfect business idea. But his journey was about to take a really devastating turn. He was about to hit his biggest, most painful roadblock yet.
He had the whole thing mapped out, a model shop called Model World. He was so passionate about it, he could see the whole path to success. But he made one huge mistake. He told his friend everything about his plan. And the friend straight up stole it. The name, the location, everything. Mark was absolutely crushed. He had to stand by and watch someone else live out his dream while he was still stuck at his job making trash cans.
But this, right here, is where you see Mark's real character shine through. Instead of just giving up, he channeled all that frustration into grinding even harder. He worked like crazy, saved every single penny he could, and even bought his first apartment just to build up his credit score. He didn't know it at the time, but he was getting himself ready for a second chance that he never, ever saw coming.
And then, almost like it was meant to be, the opportunity he'd been waiting for just appeared. His friend wanted to sell the business. Mark was ready to jump on it, but he still had one final, massive hurdle to get over.
See, he didn't have anywhere near enough money, so he went to the bank, the one he'd been with since he was a kid. He walks in with a solid business plan, a good credit score, and they didn't care. They shut him down in less than 10 minutes. He was completely dejected, felt like he'd been kicked to the curb.
So he's walking back to his car, feeling totally defeated, and on a whim, he decides to just walk into the very next bank on the corner. He somehow gets a meeting with the manager, who is immediately blown away by his passion and his work ethic. And in his just stunning turn of events, the manager not only approves the loan right there on the spot, but he also promises to be one of his first customers. Incredible. So what happened next? Well, that number, $1 million, that's how much his business, Model World, turned over in just the first 3 years with him in charge. He had taken his dream back, and he was turning it into a massive success.
But you know how it goes. Just when he thought he'd finally made it, a brand new, totally unforeseen threat popped up: the internet. Retail shops all around him were getting wiped out. He knew he had a choice: adapt or go bankrupt. So instead of trying to fight the internet, he leaned into it. He created a central warehouse to ship his products to customers all over the world.
That near disaster taught him his final and maybe most important lesson: never, ever rely on just one stream of income. So he diversified, and he did it in a big way. He built on his early investments in stocks and real estate. Then he created a whole new business-to-business income stream, even developing his own products to sell to other companies.
So here's the real key to all of this. Mark's success wasn't about getting lucky or trying to avoid risk. No way. It was about embracing smart, calculated risks and just relentlessly adapting to whatever came his way. He understood something crucial. In the world of business, standing still, that's the biggest risk of all. And this single act, this just perfectly sums up his entire journey. When the carpentry firm he used to work for went out of business, he went to the auction and he bought his old boss's desk. Think about that. He came full circle, from being the powerless kid on one side of that desk to being the one sitting in the boss's chair.
Mark's story is just this powerful reminder of what's possible when you have passion, resilience, and you're willing to adapt. And look, in a world where the barriers to starting a business have never been lower, where all you really need is a computer and an internet connection, his journey leaves all of us with one really important question to think about. So, what's your next move?